Is there anything specifically about walking in iron shoes that we haven't kind of covered? I mean, I think of that as like, yeah, a 1,000 mile journey, suffering. You can think of like meditation, like boredom is something that I think a lot of people you're supposed to deal with meditation, right? And with any sort of worthwhile endeavor, if you are at the stage of development where like you always need to be stimulated, and we could say this is a larger kind of commentary on our own society with all our devices and everything. But yeah, if you're at the stage of development where you always need to be stimulated, you can't stand all the drudgery and boredom before you're before a next stage of enlightenment or whatever. Um, but yeah, do you take anything more out of and physical suffering too, or some kind of suffering with wearing the iron shoes for a long time? Uh, but do you take anything else out of that part of the story?
Hmm. Um, I think, especially with what you have had said about the sort of, the fast travel boots being like the opposite of the iron shoes. There's something about willingly accepting not even so much the punishment, but the consequences of your actions. And that
Yeah.
like, the princess throughout all of this feels like a higher portion of the prince. She's taking care of him. Uh, she loves him. She, and the giving of the shoes seems like an insult or a slight or a punishment, but in well, consciously, intentionally, in agreement, taking up the challenge that his failure, presents him with,
Yeah.
he's able to get to a place where once that falls away on its own, he's able to travel so much more quickly. So it's
Yeah.
like he it the we can think of the suffering as punishment, or we can think of the suffering as a gift,
Yeah.
you know. Um, Same thing with boredom and meditation. We can think of it as an obstacle, or we can think of it as the thing to meditate on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bored. I'm bored. What does it feel like to be bored? How do I know I'm bored? Where are the sensations in my body that go together with boredom? What does my mind do when I'm bored? Do I let it do that, or what's my relationship with my mind as it's doing that? And there's all these, not that we want to be having this philosophical discussion while we're meditating, but we we want to be mindful of all of these things. We can be very mindful of boredom, and the more mindful we are of these painful meditative experiences, or these unpleasant or emotionally unpleasant or just boring or sleepiness or whatever, the more we can turn our attention to those things. I think eventually, if we continue to attend to them, or even if it's something as intense as like grief or anger, or
Mhm.
if something's coming up in us, if we can attend to that in that way, and willingly and consciously, they can fall away. And when they do, we are gifted with sort of the reverse of them, or
Yeah. Yeah.
some sort of an extra power that comes from having that problem no longer having dominion over us.
Yeah.